Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another exciting, innovating, and amazing Propagandacast from me, your host, Imperial Dane. The one, the only master propaganda hero, psych defender of the fatherland, off he to a glorious 1v1 on Amilly Fields. In the north, it is VonLewinski fighting for the Oberkommand West Germany, Deutschland. Here with the Führer Grenadier Brigade with Grand Offensive featuring the Panzerfusilier, smoke bombs, Infrastrukturgruppe 44, the Panzer Commander, and the target tank on the south of the Skeletron, fighting for America, freedom, democracy. Here with the 1st Armored Division with mechanized, as always, with mechanized groups, the M4A36 Militiamen, the M21 Mortar Half-Track, Cavalry Riflemen, and combined arms triple infantry. So we got a Volkswagen Panzer start here versus a Rifle Dart truck start there for Skeletron. And as always, a big hearty thanks to my own company of heroes, my page supporters, champion and heroes one and all, who keep me in the business. Without them, I would not be able to do this, so big thanks to all those. Other people can join the heroic and illustrious ranks by pledging on Patreon, or they can consider donating my PayPal, links in the description. Finding, commenting, liking, sharing, subscribing, well, that helps me out a bunch as well there. So, off to the races we are with the Volkswagen Panzer start there. Been a bit of a while since we've seen some Panzerfusilier out of the Oberkommand West. More standard rifle start there, of course, with a dart truck, which in early game can allow to grab more territory faster. And of course, later on can be added with a 50 cal, can also get access to the 155mm artillery barrage. You can even mark targets, though the average American player never makes use of that. Moving straight for these fuel pontiers. So far, standard opening here. Sturmpionier rushing westwards, but wide down there. Rifle Graham Leeson Point. Graham Point there. Rifle squatting out there for Skeletron. Looks like he might be planning to pop reactions into the dart truck, maybe. Is there something else going on here with the Skeletron? Yup. Gonna give them a ride. So far, not much else going on here between the two sides. We've got the Volkswagen on the point here. Second Panzerfusilier squad ready. Sturmpost backing off. Interesting enough, it's got the dart truck rushing forwards here. Possibly hurt the engine there, roaring in the distance. Plus, if you've been played against Skeletron, you pretty much know he's always going to go for mechanized company. Or if you watch any of my videos featuring, again, you know he's always going to go for mechanized. Nothing wrong in that, but it does mean to an extent you can sort of like make these certain predictions. Let's see there. Monkey, we got the rifle squad on the centre, and these up got a bit of skirmish between the Panzerfusilier and the Volksgrenadiers. Panzer Captain dart truck there with the anti-tank rifle damaging the engine. Truck on the way there for VonLewinski. East side, we've got the full of the Panzer slowed surrounded with the rifle squad. We definitely close in into the cover position here rather than standing out in the open there. Tactically, that will of course negate the heavy cover, but also crucial to get them into cover. In the centre, the dart truck trying to escape here with a damaged engine leads just not working out. The driver's like, come on! And the gunner's like, god damn it! Why did an armor be glued stuck to the back of this truck? And goes down there. Quite below there to Skeletron there again. Great kill here. Does so well in position, but the rifle squad they need to retreat now, and even then there's a chance of getting up still. Got the lieutenant and the cavalry rifle out there for Skeletron. Equipped with the M3 grease gun, which was basically an attempt to make a cheaper and easier to make Thompson submachine gun. Rifles the advanced Sturmpionier. Charlie force the lieutenant and the cavalry rifle there. A swarm of the 45 caliber rounds, and of course M1 ground rounds just flooding in the face of the Panzerfusilier there, forcing away here. City advance to the Skeletron. Obviously, he's hiding away with the rifle squad here to find the best chance to retreat them before they get annihilated here by VonLewinski. There go his spots, but there you go. The Sturm is being focused down here. Go retreat rifle squad now. Just the timing he needed there. Go Sturm Pani's down to 2 men. VonLewinski's forced to retreat in the face of Skeletron's advance. In the centre, we've got the cavalry up. They can be equipped with a pair of Thompson submachine guns. There we go. Forward to the punch of the rifle squad there. Rifle squad there. Being overwhelmed, but there you go. Lieutenant charging in for freedom, democracy to save his beleaguered comrades. Pushing with the Volkswagen on the Panzerfusilier, who are early game until they get upgraded, actually weaker individually than Panzerfusiliers. So of course, once you get the recon package, become much stronger. Battlefield headquarters up here for VonLewinski. Mechanized command post up, so he can begin upgrading them if he has the munitions, which so far VonLewinski does not. Instead going there for the 251-17 flak half track, which would later be replaced by the 251-23, I believe, flak half track, which mounted a flak drilling mount. the 3 either 15mm or 20mm aircraft guns used in an anti-aircraft configuration, which surprisingly was also good versus infantry. So there you go. Infantry upgrade on the way there. Sturmpunie leading the way for the Führer Grenadier Brigade. 2 units based off the Wolfschanze units defending there. Once Hitler had abandoned it and moved back to Berlin. They were a bit of a mix of, well, again, veteran troops from the Großdeutschland, but also basically Landsturm troops. And for those wondering what is the Landessturm, it was basically the predecessor to the Volkssturm, basically militia troops. Made up of older men and such there, who suddenly found themselves being Panzerfusiliere. Little fun fact there. Flak handling forwards here for VonLewinski, equipped of course with the 2-cylinder flak gun. Stuart light tank here for Skeletron, but so far Skeletron's really hit back hard here at VonLewinski and got the chunk of the map here, despite the loss of the dart truck. But there we go, falls back here. Brass Squad on the Sunday dealing here with an advance from VonLewinski. Need to retreat those 2 troops. That is definitely, I think, asking for trouble here and for casualties. Ambulance horse on the way here for Skeletron. Freedom and democracy. VonLewinski charging through the centre, folks with the Panzermen eastwards. Back here, ready to reinforce and heal up a bit once the ambulance arrives. Meanwhile, VonLewinski, of course, exploring this to just advance as fast as he can. No breaks here, just pushing ahead for Deutschland. Stuart out there for Skeletron, the M501 Stuart. A lot of fairly damaged troops there, so ambulance there arrives just in time here, but it's still going to be a bit of downtime here for Skeletron, as VonLewinski and the Führer Grenadier Brigade moves ahead here rapidly. Stuart rushing northwards there. There, ambulance arriving, troops reinforced, healing. Superman force there. Engaging the Volksgrenadiers. Troops sitting out there. Cavalry rifle also good to go. Don't forget the troops, there's a Panzerfusilier equipping the first in the gun. Charging in their flak up to unleash hell there upon the lieutenant and the... Nope, doesn't. Backs off there. Stood moving from the east here, could also pursue the flak attack, which will leave VonLewinski once more in a rather rubbish position if he's not careful here. Academy have out to provide some crucial anti-tank support here for VonLewinski. There you go, direct hit on the Stuart light tank, 88mm rocket punches straight through the side armour, leaving the crew rather discombobulated. Rifle zooming up, lieutenant up here against the Sturmpionier with no supporting, just the Sturmpionier. That's not really much here the VonLewinski can do about it. It's going to need the flak attack to stop Skeletron's, quite frankly, large throng of freedom-loving gentlemen. Sturmpionier down to 2 men in the east side. We've got the Panzer with the cavalry rifle there, closes in there with their grease guns and their Tommy guns. Goddamn verdammte amerikanische mit der gangster tactics. Hey, we're not gangsters. It doesn't have a drum magazine. Which it technically didn't. Initially, of course, the Thompson did have, but thing about drum magazines is, like, you know, while they're neat and so doesn't mean you have to reload as much, they're kind of heavy and impractical in a lot of other ways. It's also technically very much more difficult to manage. There's a fun fact, the Thompson submachine gun actually had a 100-round drum magazine as well. I'm not so sure who that was the intended audience for, but, you know, apparently someone decided, you know what? We need a 100-round drum magazine for this thing. But why? Communists. Oh, right. Troops setting out of Skeletron space. We've got the bars up there. Pushing up with the flak half-tech. Panzer squad halfway done there for VonLewinski. 50 cal there for Skeletron. Freedom and democracy. Be a third Panzer squad here then for VonLewinski. Probably up more recon packages. Focusing their Panzer trying to the Stuart light tanks, rear armour. Not that really they're doing much there, obviously. Of course, the infantry supporting the Stuart, of course, is a much better target for the Panzerfusilier and the Volksgrenadiers. West side, we've got the Lieutenant with the western fuel point here. Large going to shift for the flak half track here, and they're going to pop an anti-tank rifle grenade here. They are going to take a face full of flak at fairly close quarters. Stuart look up to flank here, but it's also damaged. I think Skeletron is reconsidering the overall chance of not getting his Stuart knocked out there. Jumping around to fix up the flak half track. Grenade off there. So we also got grenades here for Skeletron. Thumbs up to that. We'll have to actually make use of the smoke as well. Some players have got to use the grenades, the regular ones, but they then still struggle a bit with the smoke. MD35 for VonLewinski. And Deutschland. No sign of tech yet. He's not even in a position to push for any fast armor. Skeletron's got a bit more to go himself as well. But he's also certainly leading on map control and crucially on fuel control. Ground western fuel point here with the lieutenant. Looks like he has something stuck in his pocket. Trot on the way there for VonLewinski. Gonna take up. Flak half tech good to go. Fifth gun heading up here. Cav moving up here. Perhaps heading up for deep flank around the eastern side here. That could be an option. Got a bit moving in the west here. Schwerer very much step out there for VonLewinski. In the center, Reason's holding up the Skeletron. Definitely some action on the right flank going for the fuel point there. On the west here, Lieutenant's about to get a rather aggressive German welcome party. Ralph Court tries the punch was there. We got the flak half tech moving towards the center, 3 kills. Close versus one there. Reason's immediately being met with a face full of flak. Immediately send packing on the west side. Fuel point there open here for the German army. Stood wing up there. 3 killed, close to veterans who won. Big push here for the Ralph squads. Note the way swing about this also to like, threaten the retreat path. So if VonLewinski slows to retreat, they increase the chance of getting the white pit. Flak after on the spot. Could have popped a grenade. I think we should try to get a grenade on the retreat path here, I think. But there you go. A Kevin being caught here. There you go. He pops a grenade set. That is obviously much better here for Skeletron. A massive blow for VonLewinski. If you retreat that Kevin for much sooner. That set. The India Fed 4 is keeping the press. The Stumpy and themselves getting suppressed by a 5th cal covering the riflemen. So that is definitely swinging back and forth between VonLewinski and Skeletron. There it goes to make a run for the Ken now, but that's going to be a huge problem for VonLewinski, losing that damage. England to light tank Schwerpan calls up, but it's not authorized. Troops being forwards here, infantry being mauled. He's going to make a run for the Ken Maffer. That's just a waste of manpower there by VonLewinski. That's a full squad. The remaining one he's got, by the way, well, the only one, completely wiped out there. That was basically a massive waste of manpower. For like a little game and also just fed the Americans a fat chunky experience. Tactically, I'm not entirely sure what VonLewinski was hoping except like maybe getting lucky with a Kenneth shot, but with the grenades there, that is call it optimistic, I think would be very generous. Pushing at the punch of the ground to try and get off an anti-tank rifle, but again the rifleman with the bars simply proved to be too much of an obstacle here, and VonLewinski is forced to withdraw. Flak after taking repairs. Schwerpan call this authorized, but it's worth noting here VonLewinski is still ages away from any tank, and meanwhile he's about to lose his only Raketner for here to Skeletron. In fact, it looks like they're both trying to destroy it, maybe? Okay, looks like he will be able to get it here. But still, he's paid a massive price for that camera. I mean, that's practically like perched atop a mountain of corpses, like, hey Otto, yeah, I think this thing might be cursed. Friedrich, the Germans. Everything's cursed in Germany. Returning forwards here, flak half tech good to go. More bars being handed out there, very good. Closing on the tank. He could of course go for a Scott here, trying to apply more pressure now. He could also just go for a mortar after, or a regular mortar. We'll have to see what Skeletron does here. 5th cal rider here by the Panzerfusilier and their Might of Arms. Close advantage on that flak half track. That's going to help out VonLewinski notably here versus Skeletron's infantry, as it does gain a notable damage boost. Steady advance in the centre in the east side. We got the cavalry heading out the way to ambush some Krats with their grease guns and the Thompsons. Stuart there sent packing by the Ken in the northwest. He's Stumpian around the Reason's Grand Western fuel point back. Looks like he might be eventually planning to push for the eastern fuel point, but he seems more concerned about the centre there. Go flak half track, reaches veteran too. East side here, the rifleman versus the Panzerfusilier. He is Steel Hunt Glider right now. Could help definitely out there. There you go, flak capturing out as well there. Oh, does end up retreating the Panzer nonetheless, but he ends up retreating his troops as well as the flak half tech gets just close enough for discomfort there. And with a Vector 2 flak half, chance of getting a white pit is definitely very high. Again, a Vector 2 just gets this damage, which really makes a huge difference, like just how much more damage it does and just how quickly it can wipe out units. Which is probably like one of the prime reasons the flak half track is so popular, not just being a very good mobile suppression platform, but once it gets to Vector 2, it can really give you some strong chances of wiping out enemy infantry. Skeletron there with the M43 Sherman. Stumping behind it down. He's adding a Panzerschreck. 9. Still plenty of time to go for before VonLewinski can consider armor, like he probably should consider flak half track, to be honest. Flak half track and Panzerschreck and the Sturm Punies. I don't know how that in my mind became a flak half track, but I mean, he could go for another flak half track, I suppose, but I wouldn't advise it. We should have gone for that. You should have done that much sooner rather than 15-minute mark. Sherman now almost done for Skeletron. Still moving in here. 9 kills, 22 there. But yeah, Panzerschreck would do him a lot of good. Then the Sturm Puni just add some extra support there against incoming armor. And he's still got plenty of time to go for calling a tank of his own or a Jagdpanzer, so getting in something there I think would be a very strong investment there for VonLewinski. He's saying before catching the rifle squad there. I kind of called it, they outmaneuvered it actually. One thing to worth note here is though, while Skeletron can make sure his men has got bars, plenty, he's not really ensuring he's got any bazookas though. That could be said to be an interesting sort of so there's challenge rushing force, kept him around it, leaves something wiped out. The flak half tack is a corner really bad position here for VonLewinski. He's going to try and get out there, but I think chances of getting out there in one piece are pretty much nil as we saw there. Going for another Academy for now, still no Panzerschreck in the Sturm Punier. Seems like he is very much averse to Panzerschrecks. Rushing forward to the rifle squad there. Sherman rolling ahead here, a few more shots into the side. Academy for hit that punches through the rear armor. So yeah, right now, VonLewinski definitely lost like one of his strongest assets by far, and also crucially wrecked the wreckage, so VonLewinski can't even salvage it for fuel. So right now, Skeletron's definitely looking like he's got, in several ways, the upper hand. His infantry-wise is looking fairly strong. He's got the tank. The only things, I mean, that's really working out for VonLewinski is the double Academy as for now, and of course the Panzerfleets are still getting stronger and stronger. And it's not like he's too far away from a tank either. That said, Skeletron's not too far away from another tank either, so there's definitely some problems on the horizon for VonLewinski. Potentially big problems. Punches the cavalry riflemen. This time the cavalry riflemen are definitely outgunned and outnumbered and outdackered. North, the rifle squad need to be dealt with there. Sherman moving forward here. Completely wrecks the cover. Charges in there pretty boldly, racing even. But there you go, can't get an offensive rough enough to damage the engine even, and we just seem to be forced to retreat in the face of the Sherman. Got 5 kills on it, Veterans who won. A nice star there. Sherman being hauled back there. Reinforcing healing. One of the Sherman's major advantages, besides being mass producible, was the fact that it actually put a lot of stock into like cruise reliability. For example, spring-loaded hatches, or like in other tanks, like in some cases like the T-Fed-4, they active defensive jamming. Like with the Sherman, you could just like pop up the hatch and just quickly get out of the tank. Once it caught on fire. Additionally, there's like different elements like make sure munitions had less of a chance of going off. They did some on some of the German tanks, like the Panther 4, I believe. They had like some different like armored storage bins to ensure again less chance of the ammunition going off. Though instant enough they didn't do that with the Panther, but it's a lot of stuff like that on the Sherman to help ensure the crews would stay alive. That's probably shall I say, one of the more interesting elements there. Another Sherman there for Skeletron. Not a bad idea there. Not a bad idea. We've got a grenade off here. That said, I think one grenade is a bit optimistic then, having to have an impact there against the troops with that much range. Fifth kill holding up here. Sherman halfway done. There we go. Panther 4 model gear there for VonLewinski. Sherman rolling ahead here. Going straight for the MG34. Again, over here on the side of the Sherman. Punches it as the cavalry rifleman. Again, needs to get close here, but it's just like not great terrain for close. Again, he could try and pop smoke, but again, it is worth noting for all of Skeletron's like good moves, he's yet to really utilize smoke either on Shermans or his cavalry rifleman, for example. Definitely could have used that there as well, I think, to save the Sherman. So definitely, I think something that might be worth considering for Skeletron is more smoke usage. But that said, he's still in most cases far ahead, but losing that Sherman. Definitely close the gap between him and VonLewinski, just enough perhaps to give the Panther 4 there some more room to work with and maybe turn the tide for the German army. We'll have to see about that one though, but there's certainly a chance. It's also finally gone for Panzerstrecke and the Sturmpionier, the Rakete and Panzerbüchse. Double can have hit. Yeah. And another Sherman down. You can't really underestimate those Raketenwerfers. They kind of have the same thing as the M1 anti-tank gun, where they have a fairly high rate of fire, so like they got 2 of them they can quickly knock out like most medium armor if you're not careful. Or where the M1 anti-tank gun, you just doesn't have as much penetration, like chemists trade off with more range or less range in comparison. But still, they both have that thing like you do pack higher rates of fire and definitely should not be taken lightly once they're paired up. Definitely a bit expensive there for Skeletron to put a gent. You should at least pop smoke on them as soon as you saw them. Again, seems like a bit of a pervasive issue for Skeletron that he's not great with smoke. Which is definitely like one of the Americans' great advantages, like they have so much smoke on a lot of things. In fact, they used to have even more smoke. In fact, they had to nerf that because that was just too good. But like, they still have a lot of smoke sources, yet the average American player is not huge in using it despite it being quite powerful. So, better advice there, Barry, but you know, if you're struggling with Americans, try and use more of that damn smoke. Plans for the 2 kills and getting the 50 kill there, pushing it back. Fuel cache up, to push out more tanks. Probably going to see in the 76 Sherman next to the Skeletron, but yeah, losing those 2 Shermans also came has really put a massive dent there in Skeletron. It hasn't quite evaporated his lead, but it's definitely made it look a lot less impressive. Particularly with the second Sherman narrowly not getting to do anything before it just gets blown to scrap metal. Still, victory point wise, Skeletron still has the lead. He does have, you know, a fairly strong force in other ways, but should not take those Raketenwerfers lightly. Jumping more to center here, we got the cavalry moving about here, close to the ace level there. The Panther 4 there is doing quite a good job just bombarding here through the hedges. Also finally got some bazooka teams up here for Skeletron. He's closing on that 76mm Sherman. Or regular one, I suppose, but I'm guessing he's going to go for the 76mm Sherman as his gun does have better performance if it was the Panther 4 Model J. We've got 289, this is, or 288, actually 283. Skeletron's definitely enjoying the victory point lead still over VonLewinski, and of course for the German army this is a rather crucial element to shut down fast. Now the Sherman, there we go, it is the 76 Sherman here for Skeletron. Punches will going to be a significant problem here due to their increasing high experience. There goes Steelhunter now against advancing Lieutenant Ralph, got the grenade off in the turn before they get off their grenade. Major doing what he can against the Panther 4, but it's just not enough, and the Major himself perishes in the name of freedom and democracy. Popping that grenade off here. Jason's pushed out of the shed. The shed collapses. The Route Squad clipping wiped out by the Panzerstrecke Sherman that is right around the corner for Skeletron. Freedom and democracy. Panther 4 keeps blasting away.
We're losing a capture point.
There goes the Panzerstrecke.
Sherman ready. Supply line just got cut off.
Sherman out there. You've hit me on the 50 cal. Out towards the Panzerstrecke. Also got a bar in there to the cavalry rifleman. Sherman forward, just need to cover around those Raketenwerfers once you spot them, of course, because again they can quickly deal with medium armor. Safe to say the kitten methods or something I won't be missing in Companies 3. Comes the panzer there. Kitten members doing puny and Panther going out there. Sherm rolling in there. Panther charging ahead, they're crushing walls, and soon Americans there with its mighty Hulk and guns. In the far west got the shimmering up here, pursuing the Panzer there with vengeance and gunnery. Got to lay down some mines, you could also sell to the Dart Strike actually. Lieutenant the Panzer got another squad prime coming far here, they're pushing Skeletron back into cover. Panther moving in there, good hit from the bazooka, but doesn't do too much damage there. Grenade here, popped over the shed. Skeletron's definitely strong, but I think part of it again is just these Recorders. They really make a difference, like, you know, do something, in part because it doesn't know where they are until it's too late. And again, the high rate of fire means, you know, a pair of them can quickly disarm medium armor and destroy it. Again, highlighting a bit of the issue with anti-tank guns. I feel a bit too much in Companies 2. Like, get a pair of them, you can actually, like, really just make things much more difficult for your opponent. I think is really necessarily a good idea. Pushing eastward, see it. Charging with the Panther, catching the 5th car then, pushing it back. Straight into an MD-34 here. Good setup there. Could pop smoke, but again, Skeletron just does not seem to be big on smoke. For whatever reasons. Got the Lieutenant charging forward about the Rival Squad. They're Major charging as well. They're Sherman holding back in reserve for now. Going straight for the carpet and the punch of the Panther fort. The Cane, the Panzer Doom punch, all rushing east. The MD-34 was the 50 car, but again his force is definitely in a bit of a sticky spot. Mount control wise all back. He's got a fighting position all the way over. Okay, apparently I missed that at some point. That's an interesting setup there. So a bit of a surprise there, I guess. Charging in there, but only met with the Panther 4 and the Sturm Pioneer. That quickly puts a stop there to Skeletron's little raid there. So we've got Evil's Recordner. He's taking a slightly decent path, but the Recordner's still there. There's a Sturm Pioneer, and of course, the second Recordner. Germany's quickly engaged in the face of those. 5th car getting veterans who won. Lieutenant charge Watterson, but there's an MD-34 and wait here, ready to blast any Americans into bits and pieces. Moving up there. Oh, we've catched the cannon. That definitely got a huge blow to VonLewinski. And certainly one thing that surprises he did not just try to steal the cannon when he actually had the option there. Back here at that point, because for the Oberkommers, one of the biggest issues actually the opponent just steals the cannon every turns against them. In fact, it tends to be like, you know, a surefire way to actually beat the Oberkommand, but it's just to turn like cannon against them. As a fun side note. Punch they called out in the open, bunched up. He Sherman tears into them. 3rd Academy for VonLewinski. Good hit from the Sherman there. Lieutenant for some reason finds us at shared here. I'm not entirely sure why. Like, most of the time, these small buildings with not a lot of windows are typically more suited for like machine guns. Maybe people with anti-tank weapons like bazookas or Panther strikes, but they're not great for like most types of infantry. 2nd 76 months Sherman there for Skeletron. Back to rebuilding his forces rapidly. Certainly hiding again the map control or everything else, but again, those like Kevmevs are a definite thorn in his arse. And will need to be dealt with. But smoke again could do a lot there once he ascertains the rough position to help, you know, make them a little less effective as his Skeleton's armor. And I think at this point VonLewinski's just going straight for the Tiger tank, which is honestly not a bad idea now. Still kind of risky, but
A capture point is under attack.
he does have the force, I think, to make it work. Need to spot the criminals first, then smoke them, and then push in. But so far, he's just pushing in without smoke. I mean, it's not bad. He's assumed the Himwitz is just smoked around the center here. that's probably what I would have done. Oh, he finally deploys smoke here. Almost 30 in the game, and having had smoke for plenty of time, he finally deploys the smoke there. And again, it really messes here with like VonLewinski there, his position able to defend and form a cohesive defense. But again, by now it's like, you know, things are kind of falling apart for Skeletron. The Sherman's in on its own. There was no additional tank support or infantry support here, so the assault just kind of falls apart here for Skeletron in the end. Skeletron's pushed back here. Opening up the Panther Fort. Close to losing the Sherman. He's pretty much going all in now. And I think there's a good chance he to lose the Sherman here. Yep, Sherman's out. Didn't even get the Panther Form with that. I think Skeletron's pretty much dead in the water. GG game over here. A loss of Skeletron, a victory for VonLewinski. Part of the game was just like, you know, the sheer power of the Raket was also just how Skeletron reacted to the Raket. And that was part of the game was just not, you know, getting that one. And I'm still not sure why I wouldn't grab it. Like, you know, your free anti-tank gun, crucially, it's a really good one. But then, of course, also just allows the opponent to get, like, it back and, you know, get to 2, which, again, is, like, typically where issues arise. But also, then he didn't deploy smoke. He didn't do, like, anything to try and counter it. And certainly, double anti-tank guns is just a very powerful strategy. It's, like, you know, what pretty much, like, almost everyone is going for it. Double anti-tank guns is really good and honestly something they should have looked at, like, I think, more seriously. But, well, I guess that's going to have to, like, wait for Companies 3. But again, like, you know, just highlights. Smoke is typically, in my opinion, like one of your better tools for dealing with that, and just speed and aggression. But just Skeletron wasn't like able to like really get that to work. And particularly, I think losing those first 2 Shermans, particularly the second one, I think was also just the issue there. Like, he really didn't take those double campers seriously, which is typically the exact opposite of what you're supposed to do once you encounter double campers. You're supposed to take it very seriously. So, some issue there, but Skeletron, which definitely allowed VonLewinski to, like, you know, get his way back into the match and win it. So there you go. Hope you enjoyed this match. I've learned something from it. If you did, subscribe, like, share, comment on it. Tell a friend, tell a family, but don't tell enemies. This is Imperial Link. Cheers. Thank you for watching. I'll see you tomorrow again for another episode. Bye.